go!
Hey, welcome back to Power by 8 Racing YouTube channel. It's been a long while, just about a year I'd say, about a year and a month since I think I've posted a video of the car. That's because I took the last year off from racing. I just lost my drive for a little bit and had sent the transmission off to get refreshed, and the time that it was gone, I just kind of got bored and whatnot. So anyways, I kicked off that funk, decided I was going to get the car back together and head out to the track this past weekend. I wanted it to be just me and some buddies, so I didn't even record anything for the channel, which is very, very unfortunate for the viewers because it was a very, very eventful weekend, and by that I mean it was eventful in a very, very bad way. So it started when I got to the track and opened up the trailer and discovered that along the wall of the trailer I have a shelf for the tires, so I have 4 tires and a spare trailer tire. That was on the car. It had fallen off and smashed the front of the car. The way that it landed, it scratched up the vinyl of the hood and compressed the fender down enough to where I can't open the passenger door, so that has to be addressed. That started the weekend. Next day, get the car ready, everything should be good to go, and I'm driving, and I decided that I was going to drive the TT2 tune, which would have been an extra 100 horsepower, so it would have put me at 396 horsepower. Well, with the 296 horsepower tune for TT3, I know that my back stretch speed at Sebring is about 135, 136, depending on how far I carry it into turn 17. That day, I was 126 or 126 mile an hour, somewhere like that, and I knew I was down power because I had 100 horsepower more in the tune, but yet I was down 10 mile an hour. So started to look through logs, see what was going on, try to figure out what was happening, but I knew I was down power. Couldn't find anything. Made a couple changes here and there, went back out, was still down. Decided to come back in almost immediately and start digging into things again. Made a couple more changes. Went back out, still had a problem. At that time, it was lunch-ish, I believe, and I decided to pull the spark plugs. And that's when I discovered that number 8 wasn't firing. They were all new spark plugs, so it was very easy to identify. I had no spark on the number 8 spark plug. So, very easy to diagnose. I went ahead and changed coil packs, changed wires, and decided, all right, well, that must be the problem. Let's go back out and see what's going on. Went back out, still down power. Came back in immediately and started to dig back into things and discovered that the coil pack harness was bad and I didn't have a spare. Luckily, John from Boosted Motorsports was there at the track, and he had just changed his coil packs to some other ones, and he didn't need his wiring harness, so he let me borrow it. So slapped it on the car, everything was great, car was running strong. Went back out and decided we'd get like the last session or so in, and the shifter broke in half. So if you remember, I believe, I don't remember if I put it in the last video, it's been so long or not, but I had broke the shift handle the last event. And then this time I broke the shift lever in half, basically broke the welds. So yeah, so I broke that. We scrambled around Sebring and got it re-welded. Luckily again, John came through and found somebody in Sebring that helped us out. We were able to borrow his welder and just kind of got it working again so I could get back out there. So going back out there, I had a good shift handle. I had a better wire harness, and we were back operational. I went out there, I did a good session, got my times back down, still knocking the rust off, don't get me wrong. Like, I was definitely not at pace with myself, but it was a good pace. And then the third session on Sunday, I went out there, and that's when the motor gave out. So that's where we are now. I got it off the track. Obviously, I got towed off the track. It was going into Bishops, which is a high-speed turn. I guess the good thing was that I wasn't at normal pace. So had I been at normal pace, I would have been all out. I would have been 10 miles an hour faster than I was, and it could have been a lot worse. So as I entered Bishops, I shifted into fourth, and about a half a second later, looking at the data log, is when the motor let go. So you'll hear in the video what sounds like gravel, and then as soon as that happened, I knew I needed to turn because Bishop's a wide arcing to the left, so I needed to turn the car or else I would hit a wall. So I turned just a little bit so I could make that arc, and when that happened, the car hit its own oil slick, which immediately I was on the brakes, and thankfully the ABS helped do its job and straightened the car back out, and I landed in the middle of the track versus into a wall. So there I sat waiting for the emergency crew, and got the car towed back to the pits and came home. So that's where we are. And now it's time to start tearing things apart. So because the headers are kind of in the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the exhaust off. I'm going to get the headers off. Once the headers out of the way, I can really get the camera in there and I can really show you the destruction that's been caused by this, and we're gonna just rebuild. We'll get this motor out, and there's some other things I want to do while it's out, so might as well show you and take you along for that ride. So let me start getting this exhaust off, and then I will show you this blown up motor. All right, got that all off, and while I knew that it was flashlight stuck to all these sockets, while I knew it was pretty bad, I didn't expect it to be as bad as this. I mean, it's bad. Like, I know it's bad, and I know the whole block's gone. I don't even think I can salvage anything in it yet. But now looking at it, it's even worse than I had expected. But let me show you. Check this out. Anyways, let me get here. All right, so you'll see there's the window on the passenger side, and you can see that it's ripped off this oil pan mount, and then it cracked here, all up in here. It sheared this main here, and then it cracked, and it cracked all the way up. So you'll see, let me see if I can get the flashlight in here. So you can see this goes all the way to the front of the block. That's to the front of the motor there. Oil pump is here, and it's shattered all of that. And it actually, it shattered across the whole front of the block. And then, so it comes from the front of the block. Now I'm on the driver's side, and you can see here also the window that it created here, and it sheared this main as well. And you can see the bottom of a piston here. And yeah, so we could put some plexiglass in there and probably get a good cool shot of the motor running, but just kidding. Yeah, so anyways, that's the extent of the damage. Let me lower the car and I'll kind of show you how these cracks wrap from here, and it wraps along the front of the motor. Let me get this down and I'll show you. All right, coming from on top of the motor, I'll see if I can get in here and show you. You can see it's cracked right here. So this is, you see the head's right there, and you can see it's cracked also right there. and then that continues along the front. I hope the water pump's not ruined, which it probably is. I don't know if you can get in there and see here. I'll try to get in there and see, but you'll see that the front cover is also, that's not good. Let me see if I can tell you. Oh, here we go. So right about here, you can see the front cover is cracked. It's too much light, so you can't really make it out. But anyways, right here, let me pull the flashlight out. You'll see that it's cracked there. So my guess is that that crack kind of goes along the whole front of the block to the other side. But I can't see anything over here because of the other things that are mounted. Oh yeah, I can see a hole there because the front cover is here, and you can see the orange. That's because the front cover is cracked there, and there's actually a hole in the block behind the alternator mount and power steering mount. There's another hole there, about a 1/2 inch crack. So anyways, yeah. So yeah, a very destructive outcome, a very destructive failure. And at this point, obviously, I know this is trashed. And what are you going to do about it? I don't know why it failed. If you know why it failed, leave a comment. Or if you have a guess why it failed, I don't think you'll ever know why it failed. But if you have a guess why it failed, and you've seen this kind of breakage before, leave a comment below. I don't know why it failed. I don't think I'll ever know why it failed. I have no idea why it failed. Data logs looked good. So anyways, but I do have another LS3 that failed. Little less of a failure than that one. It was just a simple valve float piston contact, so it might just be a piston, a valve, and a cleanup, and it might be able to just be put right back on the track that way. So I'll drop that off for the machine shop in the next couple days, let them go through that. And, well, I'll start tearing this apart, and I'll take you along for that, and you'll see exactly as it comes apart. I'll show you as I see it as well. So with that said, leave your comments below if you think you know what might have happened to this block and why it failed in that manner. And I'll see you back at the garage.
Powered by Ocho.